If you're new in town or just new to this whole podcast thing, you're tuning in to Law by Night, the podcast that discusses all things vampiric with no fear of breaching the Masquerade. In this episode, we discuss the Rite of Passage, one of the most important undertakings the Garou can perform. We'll learn of its cultural significance and importance and how to integrate it into your games of Werewolf the Apocalypse.
You do surprise me. Few young Garou accept the title of cub so willingly as you, but I suspect it is more because you argued once and were swiftly put in your place. In your human society, you are considered an adult. Barely, but you are young, and you'll be treated as a teen, as your age dictates. Of course, you're not human, but Homid, a warrior of Gaia with blood and spiritual essences of the Garou. But you are no warrior yet. And I do not say this to mock you, but to be factual, so unclench your teeth. You are not a true Garou, not yet. A Shadow Lord would not refer to you as such, so be grateful that I am your mentor. So, you're not privy to the full benefits of the nation, because you have yet to achieve Garou adulthood, and as an adolescent Garou is a cub. The argument could be made that cubs and pups, not being bound by the litany and responsibilities of the sept, may not fully understand what it means to be Garou. If there is any doubt that a pup would prioritize protecting the sept's knowledge at all costs, then instructing them becomes a risky endeavor. Some may also feel that cubs are not yet deserving of the privilege of being entrusted with these secrets before reaching adulthood. But I say it is best to get them while they are young, in all senses of the word. Not too young, though. Make sure they go through puberty, but I digress. The Rite of Passage is a crucial part of your training, and I want you to keep that in mind. You achieve your first change, you are taken in by the Garou, and are taught to properly shift from one form to another. Some individuals are located by their respective kinfetch and are kidnapped to undergo their first change in the wild somewhere, another layer of trauma for them to contend with. You learn about Gaia, the Weaver, Wild or Wield, depending on who you ask, and some of the forces of the Worm, usually the Fomori, most of which comes from the knowledge of a Sept's Den parent. You learn of your breed, which you are before anything else, followed by your auspice. When a new cub arrives, the elders of the nearest sept meet with them to learn about their lifestyle, attitudes, ideals, and lineage. A Theurge consults the spirits to understand the cub's natural spiritual tendencies. Based on these discussions and consultations, the elders determine which on who you ask, which makes the final decision about admitting the cub to the tribe. If the totem's or patron's decision is positive, the cub undergoes a rite of passage. If the decision is negative, the elders must find another suitable place for the cub. You didn't know. Just because a silver frame is descended from Jonas Albrecht does not mean Falcon has to take them on if they think you can barely rule the direction of your spit. Your rite of passage, a rite of renown, is to acknowledge your tribe and your rightful place within the Garou nation. Spirits and elders are the ones to decide, usually the former. When set upon you, you have to complete a dangerous quest to prove you are courageous, honorable, and wise. 3 traits befitting of the Garou. Traits, I should say. Such a quest, determined by the Rite Master, has a definite goal, and the cubs are not allowed to return until some end is met. Failure to do so has the cubs treated as second-class citizens at best until they are ready to prove themselves once more and may not learn gifts, rights, or so on and so forth, though some cubs are taught some gifts through the elders of their tribe and sept. Yes, I did say cubs, not cub. Few undergo the Rite of Passage alone, but it is not uncommon. Survival without the aid and trust of the pack is nearly impossible, making the rite a test for both the individual and the pack. The expectation, or the exception I should say, are the Hengo Yekai, the beast courts of the East, or the Black Spiral Dancers, but those are conversations for a different time. Usually, a would-be pack perform the rite together, many of whom do not survive the ordeal. It is only upon the quest's completion that the rite is performed, marking them with the Rite of Passage glyph. Red Talons go a step further than this, carving it into their young. I do not know what your rite of passage will be, but you will know when you have completed it physically. Yes, but more so, importantly, spiritually. The strangeness of what we find should make sense to you, with your return back to the cairn bringing you a sense of home. You then become Cleof, the lowest of the ranks within the Garou nation. It is this point onwards that the Garou may receive invitations or commands to join hunting or war parties and take on various responsibilities within their sept, tribe, and Garou nation. You also taught the Garou tongue, which the Fianna would insist is their creation. Garou may not be familiar with the Cleof from a different sept, but they may have a small degree of respect of their glory, honor, or wisdom based on their auspice. Do you see how this rite is not just about seeking acceptance, but fundamental to your training as a Garou? You are thrust into a challenging situation where you must learn to live and work as a pack or face severe consequences. Only a pup's own tribe or pack can put her to death. They are protected from Garou justice by the litany until they complete this rite, although they can be forcibly detained until the rite is arranged. Often friendless and ignored by their tribes before their rite, they occupy the lowest caste among the Garou. They are taken advantage of, manipulated, and ostracized, often becoming the easy pickings for rackabash jokes. I can see in your eyes you have already been teased, taunted, and disrespected, never heard in council. If the pup speaks up, no one is obliged to listen. They must learn vast amounts of oral history, lore, and trivia. Harassment and hazing are commonplace. There is a curious double standard at play, as you may have noticed. Despite the ill treatment, the Garou expect their cubs to function as fully grown Garou, especially during their rite of passage. I should also mention that the training and preparation one must take to be deemed worthy of the rite of passage can take months or even years. Essentially, pups bear all the responsibilities of being adult Garou without any of the authority or respect that comes with the title, but if you are able to endure all of this, you are worthy of the name of Garou. We all know and feel the concept of rank whilst others have it shown to them. This is an advantage I, a lupus, will always have over you homids. You will often find lupus packs doing their rite of passages together due to our already supportive natures as wolves. Mixed breed packs are of course common out of pure necessity. It is common for lupus and homid cubs to bicker and squabble as the wolfborn is the laughingstock trying to cope with their homid forms and vice versa. Krynosborn have the advantage of growing up within a sept, potentially learning gifts through osmosis, which is to say they learn by watching, but that is almost rare indeed. The first change does not confuse or traumatize the Krynosborn because they are already existing in such a form, hence the name, and will be more willing to experiment with other forms. Where they lack is their experience of the world beyond the cairn, as many do not see the outside world until shortly before their own rite of passage. Some Krynosborn achieve their rite of passage just as young as 9 years old. There are benefits to both more or less amount of training for cubs. A well-prepared cub is both equipped to handle challenges and trials and can potentially take on tasks that align with those expected of adult Garou. Additional training may also be a way of showing favor to cubs who are expected to achieve great things. There are practical reasons as well as offering extra training. For instance, if a sept needs enough newly transformed cubs to conduct a group rite of passage, those who have already transformed could benefit from further training while they wait. Moreover, a well-trained cub is better prepared to take on the responsibilities of a fledgling Garou after completing the rite of passage. Some septs and tribes regard this as crucial, as the Garou is obligated to abide by certain rules and duties outlined in the litany. Therefore, preparing them properly beforehand is essential. A cub may receive less training if they are the last one needed to initiate a group of rite of passage, or if a sept is in dire situations and needs all available cubs to defend the cairn without delay. Teaching cubs requires time and skill, and finding the right mentor for each lesson can be challenging, especially given the busy schedule of Garou's warriors. Unfortunately, some cubs may have to learn on go due to these constraints. A rare method of educating a new pack is through something known as the tutelary pack, which is something you only see in very large sets. They are temporary and involve young cubs who join to learn about pack instinct and hierarchy before their rite of passage. In places where there are many orphans, for lack of a better phrase, particularly in war-torn areas or places where tribes have been devastated, tutelary packs are essential for providing mentorship and support to the young kinfolk lacking mentors, although some tribes may view this as coddling. In situations where there aren't enough experienced Garou to train new cubs, the immediate need for guidance outweighs any objections. Ultimately, the goal is to ensure that the young are prepared for the challenges ahead in facing the apocalypse. The nature of your rite of passage will vary depending on your tribe and auspice, and as the elders make up many tribes and auspices, some compromises have to be made in many instances. We have spent a great amount of time talking about the auspice views previously, interactions and influence on the rite of passage, so we will now focus on the tribes. Bone gnawers develop survival skills of the cubs, usually abducting them and forcing them to find their way back, something that many bone gnawers are already accustomed to doing, which many elders use as bragging rights, providing their cubs are all survivors, which does make some rather lax through their arrogance. Those that actually give a damn have to work twice as hard for half the recognition. Black Furies can take on a couple of forms, such as reclaiming a carer lost to the worm or rescuing an animal or woman, but the quest given to them by their patron, Pegasus, tests the Furies' judgment, vision, fury, and mystery, meaning that there is actually some chances of an enigma that needs to be solved. In short, the tests are as varied as the Furies themselves. The Children of Gaia have a spirituality-oriented rite of passages involving a lunar month of ritual meditation, fasting, and preparation. They discover their own quest as they try and find their patron. Unicorn, as the denounce horror and violence, seeing the first change, a fairly recent experience to the cub to be more than traumatic enough. Viana have a test of wisdom, test and luck, each to be achieved before they are accepted into the Heart Warden, which doesn't include the retelling of their 12 great sagas. In addition, something must be won or crafted for the Karen's totem and spend some time in the Umbra. I've also heard tales of the Fae getting involved as well. The Get of Fenris teach their cubs the definition of survival and make them willing to fight the worm, testing fury and resolve, physically and verbally harassing their psyche. We train the pups to stand up to themselves, to put down the oppressors from their pack and tribe, and if they can't do that, what good are they for? Nothing. We cull those who are not worthy of Fenrir's name. The Glasswalkers don't test physical metal, but technological prowess. The hideout my packmate acquired was through our rite, amongst other things of course, but it involved using their resources, usually within a very tight refined time frame. The elders can be very strict with this, resulting many a road in not getting their own way, as it were. There is a lot of this I cannot cover for now, so remember when we discuss the Glasswalkers in fuller detail. The Red Talons often are tasked on protecting the Karen and or wolves, perhaps free captive ones from poachers. It is the test of their survival skills away from the civilization they have just begun to feel safe in. The specifics vary, lacking the rigid traditions of other tribes have. Shadow Lords analyze the traits of the to-be Cleaf and determine how they will benefit the auspice and tribe as if they were a crude, homid-centric business venture. Reason and guile are tested alongside their decision-making capabilities, with the goal often focusing on outthinking your opponent whilst testing the loyalty of the cub, almost always without their knowledge, to see how they will play in the convincing political games. If it wasn't obvious, they are prideful in their successes. Silent Striders, the wanderers that they are, learn Garou life and living from the Sept rather than a mentor of the same tribe, until it comes to the point where another Silent Strider must take over, learning about their history, curse, and the basics of the Dark Umbra, which you might recognize as the Underworld. As for the rite itself, they sent their pups across moon bridges from one Karen to the next to deliver important messages in familiar, unexplored territories. This is the first part of their test, focusing on will and honor, as they have to memorize the message word for word. We are creatures of oral tradition after all. The second focuses on gnosis and wisdom, and has the silent strider help one of the restless dead or drive it off if it is not sincere. The final test has the strider hunt and kill creature of the worm, testing the rage and glory of the Garou. Silverfangs often send their pups to a realm within the near Umbra, known as the Legendary Realm, for their Rite of Passage. It allows those to experience the lives of their ancestors, but the Silverfangs perform a special rite which sends their pups back through the bloodline of the Garou to inhabit the bodies of ancient and honoured ancestors. Silverfang Rites of Passage create moon bridges leading there, and all Silverfangs know how to get there using these moon bridges protected by Falcon. While there, they face epic foes and experience the pure, pristine wilderness of the time before the Impergium. How well they enact their roles will determine how the tribe views them as a pack when they return to the present. This rite serves to keep the Silverfangs firmly grounded in their heroic past. The Stargazers are one of the few tribes who will focus on the individual stressing during the Rite of Passage rather than together as a pack, usually with a cub seeking out a mentor or vice versa. Rarer still, you will find a Stargazer within a pack. Their rites focus on solving 21 riddles in a special chamber, otherwise they are made to go and study more for the next Rite of Passage, whenever that may well be. The Uktena, the Ghost Council, seeks some unknowable piece of knowledge dependent on the cub and their auspice. Some have to acquire something from a spirit, whilst others have to use brute force. Some are sent into the Umbra and to be tested by their elders, with the consequences of failing most grave. And the Winter's Teeth, a rarely spoken name for the Galestalkers, are sent into the cold north and endure the elements, sometimes into urban environments. Some are sent on some form of vision quest or must slay some form of creature vomited up by the worm. The Rite of Passage is more than a test. It is a transformative journey that defines you as a Garou. It shapes your identity, forges your spirit, and solidifies your place within the Garou nation. Whether driven by survival, wisdom, fury, or honor, this rite demands the best of you. It is a rite of endurance, resilience, and profound growth, one that prepares you to face the perils of our world and the encroaching worm. Remember, your journey does not end with the Rite of Passage. As you rise to the rank of Cleof, new challenges and responsibilities will emerge, further testing your mettle and dedication. Embrace these trials with courage and wisdom, and always strive to honor Gaia in your actions. You are a part of a greater whole, a lineage of warriors and protectors. Wear your mark with pride, and may your path be guided by the spirits and wisdom of the elders. Welcome to your newer life as a Garou. Are things I will say to you when you complete your Rite of Passage. In the meantime, you are still a worthless cub.
To be kept updated, follow the Lore by Night VTM Instagram and Blue Sky pages to find out when we upload each episode. You can also find out by subscribing to the YouTube channel and clicking on the little bell, as you'll be immediately notified when the latest episode is live. Until next time, farewell.